This is the testing runner UX PM sync for November 18th. Hannah, I think you have the full agenda today. I will let you jump right in.
I have a lot of questions. Yeah, I kind of just wanted to use this time to get to know each other and then just talk a little bit about everything that's going on in testing and align our ways of working. And I see that, James had a couple of answers here. But yeah, I'll just introduce myself. I met you before, but I don't think we have been introduced properly. I'm Rayana, you know that. I've been with GitLab for 2 years now, and I've been working mostly, well, only CI/CD actually. So had a number of PMs, a number of design managers, but my specialization is really in CI/CD. So in CD with Jackie for the last year, and audit as well. And I feel like this is my first time actually looking to CI. I think Dimitri was the expert for most of the time where I have been with the company. Anyways, I work with Jackie. I really enjoy participating, collaborating on research and being part of the interviews. But I also like doing front end. So with the design system, with pajamas, whenever I have the chance to, just tackle some UX depth and UI polish these things. I feel very comfortable with that and collaborating with the front end engineers as well. I have fun. Anyways, that's me. It's a bit weird. Kind of introduce yourself after 2 years in the company, but I kind of just wanted to touch base on that with you guys. Anyways.
Yeah. No worries. Cool. So we can go around and do intros. Obviously, I'm James. Been in verified testing for a little over a year now, year and a couple of months. That's been my only area, and shuffled through some engineering managers, some designers, but overall had a great time working with all of those folks. Super excited to be working with a designer. This is the first time I've done that in my career, or the first time in a while. So that's really exciting for me.
Awesome.
I guess I'll go. I'm Darren. Hi. Nice to meet you all. I've been at GitLab for over a year, and actually looking forward to this collaboration. I was working very closely with Juan, but I think, and that was great. But now I think we have an opportunity to start synchronizing some of the overall experience activities. So I'm looking forward to this collaboration, kind of getting us all on the same page. So looking forward to, as we get on the agenda, my brain dump, and hopefully it's not going to be too overwhelming for everyone in the call. But anyway, looking forward to the collaboration.
Awesome, guys. And thank you. I just kind of wanted to understand, where you're at with design right now. I know that it's been a month already that Juan left. I think so, almost 2 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Vidika, and kind of just wanted to understand, where do you need help so I can plan my onboarding. I think my focus for the rest of the year, since we have the holidays and you have Thanksgiving if you're in the US. I'm also going to take some time off, but I feel like my focus now is going to be onboarding and finishing off my acting product design manager role. And I just want to align with you so I know where can I be most useful during this period. And I see here we talk about a little bit customer interviews. Jane said, yes, you enjoy conducting this. Darren, do you have like a good how do you call that? A good flow with customer interviews as well? I think,
and this is kind of like the sort of the brain dump every time we have like sort of change in the runner team, is that with the runner, because of what the runner does, we have ongoing customer interviews. And we're working very closely a lot of times with large enterprise customers and working through pain points. So the running team is different. I don't think it's different, but we are very much always engaged in customer discussions. So even though we may not necessarily have an interview that's kind of like scheduled as part of like a research effort. We're always on customer calls, talking about challenges customers have with using GitLab CI, with using runners in the enterprise, et cetera, et cetera. So, so with that said, we just have a lot of that kind of ongoing customer engagement. In regards to customer interviews as part of a more focused research effort, there are opportunities for us, and I can get that later on, as I kind of give us everyone sort of a brain dump in terms of the lay of the land. But there are opportunities for us in terms of focused research efforts related to new experiences that we want to introduce in the UI for the runner, potentially. One, and then there's something else as well we will get to later on.
Sounds awesome. Jackie also used to do that, like having random customer interviews or just like async conversations with our customers. So I added here to the agenda, but I just want to vocalize. Feel free to add me to those. Actually, please add me. I'm asking you. Add me to these interviews, and I'll join when I can. Because to me, I learn, by experiencing.
Yes, I think I want to kind of let me rephrase what I said. I think we want to make sure we and maybe it's already in the GitLab handbook, differentiate between a customer interview that we're doing as part of researching a new feature, right? And that kind of customer interview versus the running team gets an opportunity to chat with customers on an ongoing basis because we're pulled into sales calls. And because we're pulled into escalations, we pulled into like architectural type calls. Like I was on one yesterday where it was a deep dive, how do we solve this? And so we have a lot of those on a regular basis. I don't know if you necessarily want to be involved in those, but those calls is where we get a lot of feedback from customers in terms of the capabilities that they want. So certainly can bring you into those, but those are usually like weird hours of the day. And we don't necessarily have as much of the how should I say, structured research interviews related to like, hey, we're developing this new feature, it's nice and big, and we're gonna want to get feedback on it, kind of thing. That makes sense.
I totally get it. Yeah. Regardless, I would like to be added to those, especially so that I can understand the product area and the technicalities. I understand that, this not might be the customer interviews, the super well structured, organized things. But consider me, I'm going to be very annoying as your shadow. Because it's a lot of technical complexities that for me it would be easier if I could learn by just observing what you discuss rather than trying to ask you and ping you later on. So I think at least for the onboarding phase, if you have something that you think it's relevant to my learning curve, let me know. Please add me to these calls or just ping me on issues, anything like that. But thanks for clarifying, because I was really saying customer interviews.
And we do much the same on testing, where we're always trying to have ongoing discussions with customers, but we have done some of the more formal research, recruited research, where we talked with folks or internal customer, because we have quite a few categories that are pretty immature. So we lean on those internal customers to validate problems and solutions, especially as we're moving from minimal to viable.
Is there a place where I can find this opportunity canvases or some of these assets related to structure in research?
Yeah, I'll dig up the issues that we have in the UX project, and the canvases are always linked there. And I'll send you a link to the. Let me just find it before I forget. There's a shared drive that has all of the completed canvases in it. And I'll hunt that down as we're chatting. Hopefully. Yeah, there we go. That's all of ops. Oops.
Let's see.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll hunt down those other ones too.
That's awesome. I wonder if the designers have access to this, like people know that this folder exists.
Hopefully. It gets posted about in product from time to time.
Yeah.
I know not everyone is necessarily going all the way through the opportunity canvas procedure, but a lot of folks are, I think. At least when it comes to brand new product or brand new feature sets. Cool.
Yeah, I used to do walkthroughs with Jackie, not just when it's complete, but yeah, start the interviews and then go on talking about it, and sometimes even filling together. So I'm familiar with the process. So if you think that you would be useful as well and valuable to have me in this process, feel free. Bug me.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Yeah. What's the interesting thing going on? What's the most exciting thing for you guys right now?
Yeah. Darren, you want to go first?
Well, I was actually going to give a quick, I kind of missed the agenda there. We're talking about opportunity canvas. Can we just go back to that and just give you a quick brain dump on what's happening with the runner, and then I'll share the content. So hopefully this only takes about 5 minutes, but I think a global context will be helpful versus me just sharing the stuff in the doc. So can everyone see my screen? Yeah, so I'm going to put this in a doc. So just to give a little bit of context, at the beginning of the year, we did this large sort of research effort around this concept called frictionless runners. And I'll add this into the doc here in a second. And what we're looking at is this main pain point from customers, right? Basically, customers saying that GitLab runners are too difficult to use, and at least in one case, created so much friction in the infrastructure that they chose not to use GitLab. So we did a lot of work around this problem space called frictionless runners, and you'll see as I share this issue with you, I think it's an issue. There were some workflow examples in here. There was links to the opportunity canvas document. There's actually a diagram workflow we put together that talks about a near-term roadmap plan, a long-term strategic vision plan, all related to the feedback and the research that we got as we went into this problem validation space. And so I'll share this with you. And so this is the frictionless runners problem validation. So this research effort, all of the linked interview notes and so on, is really driving a major part of our thinking around making runners super easy so that it does not create friction in the environment. So that's that first issue, and I'll link it here soon in a second. It is linked to this epic, which is the Make CI/CD Easy epic. This epic was related to frictionless runners. So we in the beginning, we were working hard, we were doing all that frictionless runners research, and then I forget, was it February and March, the executive team said, hey, do we want to have this efficiency effort? So it kind of was parallel, it kind of dovetailed. Based on the executive team's ask, we focused just in the short term on this specific use case about making it super easy for self-managed customers to get going with using GitLab runners. So it's related to the frictionless runners epic. Can I get to that? But in here, what you're seeing in terms of our solutions roadmap, as we talk about automation, we created a solutions roadmap for automating the setup experience for the runners. Things like Docker images and so on and so forth. Where we are right now is the first UX feature that we tried to implement, which James, we didn't be back till yesterday, unfortunately, is the guided install feature, right? And so that's the first thing we designed in the UI. The idea was we'll add this guided install feature in the UI, come back later on and add automation behind it. So right now it's just giving you text for installing a runner. Later on we add automation. As you walk through this issue, you'd see there are other areas in here where we now we have other ideas where we need to go back to the customers and validate those ideas. And then last but not least, in terms of other user experience. So you've got frictionless runners, you've got automation, and then you now have this major other area of sort of work that's kind of tied in, which is if you can make the automation, if you can make the setup experience super frictionless and super automated as best as possible for self-managed, because we think that on .com, most folks can just get going on .com right away, right? Then the next thing for all of us and even to some extent for our customers on .com, because there are some customers that are on .com, like some large customers that are on .com that still manage their own fleet of runners, even though their users are using, GitLab.com. Is this enterprise management view. So in terms of our next research efforts, what we want to do is we want to take the initial designs, revamp these that wanted, and go back out to customers and say, hey, is this the right thing? Let's just step back. Here's what we thought we heard when we have all these conversations. Now we're coming back and we're thinking about very large customers. I don't want to mention those customers' names on this call. We want to go back to those customers and have focused research interviews. Hey, we thought we heard this. Here's where we're heading. Does this make sense for you? What are we missing? So all of these different pieces are kind of somewhat tangential. And that's all of the next set of work we want to do in Runner in terms of research and moving the ball forward. But for me, it's how do we improve the automated install experience, which we're iterating on that right now. And then the next big thing is, what do we really want to do as a team around Runner enterprise management? I know we're having discussions about the various dashboards. So how does all of that fit together? At the end of the day, we have large customers with, I don't want to make up a number, but hundreds of runners all over the place, right? And they want to be able to very quickly understand, are these things secure? Are they executing jobs, right? Can I, if there is a security issue with the runner, like say the token is compromised, can I quickly deactivate that? In the future, folks want to know, is my runner fleet efficient? Like for example, I'm running it on AWS and it's costing me whatever it is. Will it be cheaper to run it on GCP? So anyway, so there's a lot of work in that space, and that's the next evolution of our research that we want to do in terms of the enterprise management dashboard. Hey, is this right? And keep iterating on that. So let me just pause there. That was my quick, crazy brain dump. And then we add the content.
This is awesome. I have seen some of these efforts through the design presentations and the showcase from Juan and but also Vitica. It's nice to get a little bit of understanding what you folks are planning. And I saw one of the issues. I'm not exactly sure which one you shared. I think the one of the dashboard. You have like a view with some cards. Is that one part of the 3-year vision for Runner?
Well, we didn't actually create a 3-year vision for Runner. In my mind, yeah, if you want to create a 3-year vision, it's fine. It's not a bad idea, but I actually think we should go faster than 3 years. I think the idea was the current admin view, and we should definitely have a 3-year vision. Like in 3 years, what does management of enterprise runners look like at scale? It's not a bad idea. But we never did actually do that 3-year vision. We just basically knew that, hey, our current admin view is pretty limited, A, right? If you go into it right now, you would see what I mean. And then B, we now have customers, like customer A, I forget the numbers offhand, I have to find it. Let's just say one customer has, I think, 3 or 4, I want to say, I'm going to butcher this, so it may not be completely accurate, but I think I recall they said they had 3 or 4 GitLab instances, right? 3 or 4 separate GitLab instances. And like one GitLab instance, for example, had hundreds of projects. I forget how many runners. And so their need and their user experience with self-managed customers is, as you start having this growth of GitLab in your environment, these large number of projects, now these large number of build agents or runners, how do you effectively manage that thing? And our admin view today doesn't give them that. And 3-year version is great, but my firm belief is that if GitLab can get ahead of this space, improving that experience, we'll probably get ahead of Microsoft, which I have a sneaky suspicion is coming soon with a better enterprise management solution for their self-hosted customers. But yeah, we can certainly come up with a 3-year vision, but I think I was kind of looking to try to iterate on improving that admin experience as fast as possible. Starting to add things like, hey, can I find my runner? Do I know which project this runner is attached to? Do I know where this runner is? So for example, Darren could attach a runner to your project, and that runner could be on Darren's computer at home. Is that secure? All those types of things we want to solve for.
Yeah, I'm happy that this sounds all similar to what I've been doing in release management in managing deployments at scale and making sure that, our customers have this application view of the release orchestration, the release process. So not so different, I imagine, from the use case. Different parts of the product, but it's also good that, yeah, have that background so it can align with, well, not progressive delivery anymore, with the release side of the CD. So, super cool. I'm just adding here the opportunity canvases that, yeah, this one here, for release management, just in case you're curious to see what I've been working on in the past.
That'd be super helpful.
Yeah,
and the one other thing for runners, since we're all sharing, so this way everyone's on the same page. I just pinged Jackie on this yesterday. Where is it? Hold on. It's called, let me find it. So it's not, so this one is a little bit different tangent. So bear with me as I completely disrupt the agenda. But I want to kind of share with everyone so that everyone's aware what crazy thoughts are running through the PMs of runner's brain. Here it is. I think I found it now. Let me just find the link to it. Yeah, let me add the link to this in the on the agenda. I don't know how this one fits into our needs to do an opportunity canvas and research and all that stuff, but let me just add it in here. So what that one is, I just added it below. It's probably in the wrong spot. That's in the really wrong spot, sorry. Let me just find it. We can fix it later. I got it right here. So what that one is right now, I'm calling this the Mac OS build cloud on GitLab.com post GA3 revision. So it's ignoring the automated setup stuff we just talked about and the enterprise stuff we just talked about. This other thing we're working on, right now on GitLab.com, as we potentially all know, we offer the Linux runners on GitLab.com and we offer the Windows runners on GitLab.com, and we're trying to add, or we're working towards adding the Mac OS runners on GitLab.com, which I've been calling the Mac OS build cloud. I created recently is this post GA3 revision, which is basically piggybacking all of that whole 3 revision theme. I'm thinking about once we get to GA on the build cloud for Mac OS, say in the middle of next year, what does the 3 revision look like? And maybe this is an area of opportunity for us to do another opportunity canvas, more research and that sort of thing. So I just want to share that. So on this one, James, there were things like, do we want better integrated security scanning with someone that's using the Mac OS build cloud of, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you're on GitLab.com and we automatically recognize this is a Mac OS application. And do we do some nice fancy thing with CI, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. So really early phases, I just wanted to share this as an opportunity for us to do, opportunity canvas, maybe cross-team collaboration, don't know. Just wanted to throw it out there.
This was awesome. Deep diving, guys. That's how we roll. Super cool. I'm gonna look into this next couple of days, and then I'll come up with some questions as I start understanding everything of the scope. I know that we're almost at a time, and I just want to touch base on what can UX do better. Where do I need to fill in the gaps for the UX plan for testing runner?
I think once we're up to speed, we'll be in a good spot. I don't think we had the gap that we had previously was Juan and I would get started on work that then we would backlog. And when we came back to revisit it, we would almost have to start from scratch. So I think if we focus a little bit more on the research sides of things and some loose design, and then do some more just-in-time design, a milestone or two ahead, we'll be in a better spot. And part of that is my fault of we prioritized some work and then we realized that it was going to be just a ton of back-end work. Now that we have a great engineering leadership in place that is more focused on testing, that's less of a problem because we understand all of the back-end work that needs to happen to lead into these things. And the last couple of epics have been much more successful in that regard, where design hasn't been too far out in front of things.
Yeah, while you're capturing that, I would say for me, just let's just say, I'll give a very tactical example. Let's just say you were to work on a design for some new, let's just say the enterprise management dashboard, the first MVC iteration, right? But I think the next thing we should do very quickly is the first iteration of the design comes out, and we very quickly engage with front end and back end. We don't wait for months and months for it to be on the milestone to engage. Like, hey, this is what we're thinking. How big of a bread basket is this thing? Can we realistically schedule it in whatever milestone? Or like, do we need to break it down further? Let's get some eyes on this versus waiting, like to James' point, 2 or 3 months, it gets stale. And then by the time you bring in front end, they're like, oh, this is going to take us 6 months. And then you're like a year later and you haven't done it.
So work on the iteration, like on the fly with the team as we I think for both, as we validate things and we learn, keep the train moving so that, yeah, that's how I work with Jackie. So I have just going to show for reference. So you can understand, well, maybe we're not going to do the exact same thing, but that's how we work. So in the release management handbook, I have like a UX vision map. That's the second link you want to send, where I know that, okay, these are like, well, 10 probably big items for release management. So advanced deployments, group releases, splitting secrets from CI variables, etc. So those are the things on a high level that I should be aware of. And then, yeah, the validation, the interviews, the prototyping, everything works around these teams. But with Jackie, we were ahead, we were like milestone agnostic. So the first link actually I sent you is the epic that I use with her to kind of just put like, okay, this is your UX backlog. So I don't need to be working on 13 dot whatever. I'm working on whatever we are validating right now. So this used to be my list of things that are my top priorities. And then once I finish something and it moves to planning breakdown, because the developer is already groomed and we have an idea, it moves out of my epic and I go to the next step. That's how I'm used to work. I know that we're gonna have a different dynamic, but just so you to have an idea, that's why I was asking in the beginning, please include me on everything. I'll try to understand as much of the technicality as I can, because I feel like as the way I learn at GitLab is that you need to know how things work. And even if I don't speak the language of the developers, they're the ones that are going to guide the design decisions in the end. We are all experts. So I rather know too much than not know anything. And so yeah, so that I can iterate and also allow them to review our design proposals kind of on the fly. So super excited, guys, to start working with you. And yeah, keep the train moving, I guess.
Yeah, just to add, I think this looks pretty well for me. We can certainly do this for Runner, and we need to pull you into the Runner team meetings, and we'll have the same kind of issue and share it. So this is awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Yes, team meetings. I need to look at that. Team meetings. So Darren invite Rayana, and I added actually an FYI at the top. I have doctor's appointments on Thursdays, so I either follow things asynchronously, or yeah, I don't think we need to move anything for me at this point. So just so you know.
Yeah. Testing team is actually, we use the team meeting primarily for process stuff on the engineering side, and not very often actually digging into issues. And we're getting away from refinement by Darren, doing any sort of synchronous refinement. So we should be able to do that async, no problem.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much. Well, Darren's already dropped. I see you later, James. Thank you so much. It was super useful to me.
Yeah, of course. Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye.